Part 2. The history of epilepsy treatment. We will follow the history of epilepsy treatment throughout recorded history and see what happened at the time of Tutankhamun, Hippocrates, biblical times, Crusades, Leonardo da Vinci, 19th century, 20th century, 2000 and beyond. Many famous people suffered from epilepsy, particularly highly intelligent, creative, strategic thinkers. These include the likes of Pythagoras, Socrates, Aristotle, Julius Caesar, Joan of Arc, Napoleon, Agatha Christie, George Gershwin. Egyptian times. Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun ruled his kingdom for only 10 years before he died at a very young age. His death remains a mystery. Nevertheless, recent new theory suggests epilepsy killed the boy king Tutankhamun. New Scientist, September 11, 2012. A remarkable realization was recently made, a secret buried in Egyptian hieroglyphics. This is the hieroglyphic name for epilepsy according to the Epilepsy Museum in Keto-Cloud in Germany. It is pronounced Nesajet. Some of the symbols express the meaning of the hieroglyphic. Other symbols rule the pronunciation. The cobra carries the meaning from the gods, or controlled by the gods. Loaf of bread carries the meaning food. Man with stick that carries the meaning danger. Cobra, loaf of bread, man with stick, uncontrolled, food, danger. 500 BC. Around this time in history, it was accepted that epilepsy was some kind of spiritual manifestation. Hippocrates of Kos, who is considered by many to be the father of modern medicine, made the following statement: "Secret disease is neither demonic nor divine." He discovered that there were environmental issues at play, and that fasting had an effect on the seizure duration and seizure type. His treatment for epilepsy was based on dietary intervention rather than a treatment based on herbs, drugs. Biblical times. When confronted by the disciples, Jesus was asked why they, the disciples, could not cast out the demons, as epilepsy was known in those days. From Mark 9, verse 29. And Jesus said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. The Crusades. John of Gaddesden, 1280 to 1361 AD, distinguishes 3 forms of epilepsy: minor, medium, major. The phrase petit mal and grand mal seizures were coined during this time. 1500. Leonardo da Vinci. During the medieval times, it was thought that epilepsy was a contagious disease. People with epilepsy were put in asylums. Common treatment for epilepsy was torture. Bleeding was common practice to expel bad blood. First asylum, St. Mary of Bethlehem Hospital in London, known as Bedlam. Willis hypothesizes that an epileptic seizure is an explosion of animal spirits in the meninges. Willis, 1682. During this period of time, descriptions and mentions of epileptic seizure became more frequent. Edwards' first anti-epileptic drug, the introduction of bromide potassium in the treatment of epilepsy by Edward Sieverking in 1857. This was an accidental discovery. Bromide potassium was used to suppress the libido of epilepsy patients. It was accepted that epilepsy was hereditary and therefore people with epilepsy should be stopped from having babies. Other 19th century procedures to cure epilepsy were trephining, drilling a hole in the skull, was still supported by Charles-Edouard Brown-Séquard, Benjamin W. Dudley, 1785 to 1870. Tracheotomy, making an incision in the anterior aspect of the neck and opening a direct airway through an incision in the trachea. Twentieth century. In the beginning of the 20th century, the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore studied the effect of food on epilepsy and discovered the link between food and epilepsy. A group of epilepsy patients was selected and deprived of food for several days. The result was that 2/3 of the patients stopped having seizures after 3 days. Why this was the case was never discovered, but how this effect could be sustained was discovered soon after. The state the patient enters is called ketosis. While in this state, the brain doesn't use glucose, but ketone for nutrition. The body creates these ketones when there is sufficient glucose available. The diet that maintains this state of ketosis is called the ketogenic diet. Although very effective, the ketogenic diet has never been used to its full potential because of many difficulties physicians face. These difficulties are prescription, administering, maintenance, supervision. Medication became available that came close to the effectiveness of the ketogenic diet. Late in the 20th century, the ketogenic diet emerged once again as a pharmaceutical-free alternative to medication, with sometimes major side effects. 2000 and beyond. Keto-Cloud, LLC, is a company that has taken the challenge to overcome these difficulties by employing modern communication technology and tapping into the computing power most of us carry around in our pockets.